You're listening to the DolphinsTalk.com podcast network. It's the TuAmigos Podcast with Carter and Jorge at DolphinsTalk.com.
Welcome, my friends, to the TuAmigos. This is Jorge Hinojosa. After struggling with the internet and having a number of technical difficulties, Carter and I decided that I would do a solo show this week because the internet was just not working for us earlier today. So let's start the show by talking about the Jets game. And I know Carter, and we talked about this before trying to record the show earlier today, and he was not as excited about this game as I thought he would be. He's become a little bit of Mr. Negative, but good news to everyone. I'm here today, and I'll be having the positive outlook on the shutout the Dolphins pitched against the Jets last Sunday. First of all, we'll talk about the defense. What a bounce back from that meltdown against the Tennessee Titans. And I want to shine the spotlight on two particular players, one of them being Brandon Jones, not because of the two picks, but because there was clearly much better communication on the back end between him, Elijah Campbell, Jalen Ramsey. Eli Apple played a very good game. Kader Kahu played a good game. But it was a much, much better effort by that back end of the Miami Dolphins. And I think Brandon Jones' improvement in play was a big, big part of that. The second player has to be Bradley Chubb, number 2 in your programs, number 1 in your hearts if he continues to play like last Sunday. What a game. 3 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 1 fumble recovery, and he was just disruptive all day long. And it was truly fantastic to see. Van Ginkel continues to play at a very high level. I think it's becoming increasingly expensive to keep him next year, but he's playing at such a high level and really complementing this defense well. David Long, I think, played one of his best games of the season. Just, playing downhill, making those tackles on the run game. Duke Riley continues to be a good communicator in that defense. And of course, salt and pepper, if you've seen the new Hard Knocks, Christian Wilkins, Zach Sealer up front, just playing a fantastic game, both of them. Rickbone Davis also played a good game. We saw Cameron Good get a sack. I mean, it was a really, really all-around effort for this defense. They held the Jets to, and I think it was a season low for them of 103 total yards, 80 passing yards, 23 rushing yards, 1.9 yards per play. I thought that was a fantastic, fantastic effort by this defense. On the other hand, our offense, I think, had a great bounce back game, especially Tua. He struggled against the Titans. If you've seen that Hard Knocks game, he admits he struggled in that game. Missed a number of players, and I thought this week he was just fantastic. He only had 3 incompletions, one of which, by the way, was a clear defensive pass interference on Jeff Wilson that refs just decided not to call. Mike White came in late, complete his 2 pass attempts. And I thought overall it was a fantastic game by that offense. I would say that my one area of concern, and I think it's understandable given the injuries on the offensive line, was the running game. Raheem Mostert only averaged 2.8 yards per carry. Devon Achane 3.6. But again, I think as we see players coming back and becoming healthy on that offensive line, we're going to see that number really bounce back up. I think the one player we've missed a lot has been Rob Hunt, without a doubt. But on the receiving end, Jalen Waddle had a hell of a bounce back game. 8 receptions, 142 yards, 1 touchdown. And I say bounce back because he struggled throughout the season. He's really been, relegated, I think, a bit with this Tyreek Hunt for 2,000 yards. And it was great to really see him become the focus of this offense and really played a fantastic game, not just with that long pass. But, if you take that long pass out, he had 7 receptions for 82 yards. So it was really a good game. Durham Smythe had 4 receptions, 32 yards. He even converted a 3rd down, which I was very happy about. We saw Devon Achane with 3 receptions as well. Braxton Berrios had a number of nice returns on the special teams unit and also had 1 reception for 12 yards. Chase Claypool had 2 receptions for 8 yards. Cedric Wilson 2 for 2 yards. Overall, a very, very good game by this Dolphins team. It was a sort of statement game I was hoping they would make after the Tennessee Titans game. It was great to see them really respond in this manner. And I know Carter would say that he's now eager to see them play against 3 very good teams two of which are coming into town over the next 3 weeks. So obviously we have the Cowboys on Christmas Eve on Sunday. Then we have the Baltimore Ravens on New Year's Eve. That could actually be flexed to Sunday night. And then, of course, we have the Buffalo Bills coming back into town for that revenge game for this team. So interestingly enough, we have a number of scenarios for the next couple of weeks where the team could, in fact, clinch one thing per week, right? So we could clinch the playoffs this week. We could clinch the division this week, even with a bit of a help there if Buffalo loses. We could clinch, the number 1 seed on the last week, and we could clinch the division in 2 weeks as well if we don't do it this week. So, I mean, the team, everything that we want, everything that this team has worked for is there for the taking if the team plays at the level where I think they can. So I'm excited for one to see them, perform this week. I think, we have a winning team if that narrative's still alive. Coming with the Cowboys, obviously they just got their asses handed to them by the Bills. I think we're going to hand it to them even worse. And I'm excited to see this defense against that offense. I think they're going to be harassing Dak. They should be harassing Dak all day. They've got a number of injuries on that offensive line as well, just like we do. Obviously, Micah Parsons on that defense is a huge, huge area of concern, a red flag, and I'm sure that the Dolphins will be scheming around him. Hopefully, we'll see Tyreek back this week. I'm pretty confident we will against that very strong perimeter of the Cowboys. And I'm excited to see our running game take it to them this week as well. It should be a good game. It should be a fun game. It's a game in the holidays. I'm not sure about you guys, but I have a number of family members who are Dallas Cowboys, and I'm really excited to really, shit on their Christmas this year with them. Now, as we go into the next segment, Carter asked me to watch a video that he uploaded, and he wanted me to do a live reaction to this video. So this is me watching it. It's apparently under Twitter. And here comes Tua with a play action, drop back with a long pass to Jalen Waddle. And that's a score. And then it switches to the Alabama pass from Tua to Devon Smith. Very nice edit, Carter. If you're listening to this, that was a very nice edit. It was a cool video to watch. But anyways, guys, we want to hear from you. Obviously, doing a solo show is not as fun. There's no Carter here for me to annoy and get on his nerves. But, we're excited to hear about what you guys think. Are you happy with the way the team responded? Were you expecting more? Were you expecting less? What are your expectations for the next couple of weeks? What are your expectations for the Dallas game? And, of course, we want to hear what each of you, asked Santa to bring them for Christmas. Anyways, guys, this was Jorge Hinojosa doing a solo show, given Carter's absence due to technical difficulties. We're very excited for the last 3 weeks, and we want to wish you, your family members, your loved ones, and everyone in your life just a very, very happy holiday season. We'll be back next week. Thank you.
Okay, so welcome to the portion of the show that is Carter. All Carter, okay? We had some technical difficulties when Jorge and I were trying to do it together. I told him, hey, go ahead. Do it by yourself. Do a solo show. But guess what? I'm not even going to tell him, and he's not even going to find out because he doesn't listen to our episodes afterwards. But I'm putting my own portion of the show edited onto the end of his portion. So if anyone's a diehard Carter guy, then you're getting a little dose of Carter. Okay. So, also, I hope during his portion, he promised me that he would live react to the video me and my girlfriend edited of Tua throwing the ball on, to the left hash to Waddle and Devonta Smith in the Alabama-Georgia national championship game. Not great editing, but it was fun, and it used a Olivia Rodrigo song called Deja Vu, so it played perfectly into the video itself. What I will say is, if you haven't seen that, go to our TuAmigos X account or Twitter account, however you still think of it, and go watch that video. Maybe you'll feel a little bit of feels. Back to a quick episode before I wait and edit this together of Jorge's portion and my portion. I truly am in kind of a weird limbo right now when it comes to the Dolphins. Maybe Jorge's talking shit about me in his portion. I'm not going to really listen to his portion either, about how I'm still a little bit negative on this team. And I will tell you this, and I promised him this before our technical difficulties started in the first place, that if we beat the Cowboys, or we beat the Ravens, or we end the season beating the Bills. We just have to beat one of the teams. My whole tune will change, and I will be Sunshine Rainbow Boy. All right? I promise you, I will be the biggest, sunshine on the Dolphins nation that's ever been created if we could just beat one good team. That's all I ask. All season long, we've been taking care of shitty teams. We took care of the Jets this last week, and that's good because that kind of shows us a little bit of like, okay, we're not going to fall into the pit traps of last year and just like lose 9 straight, right? And that was good to see. But really, we didn't do anything against the Jets that we haven't been doing all season against shitty teams, right? And the Titans were the exception because we took our foot off the gas and then they absolutely slit our throat in the night, right? So that's the only thing I will say. I'm really excited for this week because we have meaningful, powerful football in December near the holidays where everyone has time off. So if the Dolphins lose December 24th, I have at least 6 more days off of work where I don't have to feel terrible, right? But what I will say is that I wanted my entire portion of this episode to be kind of like playoff machine talk because I'm a big playoff machine person. And this year, playoff machine of choice is the New York Times one. Everyone's kind of using it because it's really nifty. But you go and you click on your team and it gives you, chance of making the playoffs, chance of getting a bye week, chance of getting a host a wild card or even being in the playoffs, those types of things, all based on every single matchup you can click on. And here's how it looks. Obviously, if we win all of the games in a row, Cowboys, Ravens, Bills, that is a gauntlet. If we do that, we deserve to have the bye week, and we will have it for sure. We control our own destiny still, but it's still the hardest portion of our season, right? 2 are at home, which is a little bit better than last December where we had to go on the road in Buffalo and in the road in the Niners and those types of games. So it's better than that, and we have a better team than we did last year. But to win out once again, it would give us the 1 seed. If we lose to the Ravens, there is like basically a 0% chance we get the bye week. Okay, if we beat the Ravens and the Cowboys and we lose to the Bills, it's still humanly possible that we get the bye week, but a little bit has to fall in our lap. That drops to a 30% chance. Let's say we beat the Cowboys, or the Cowboys beat us this week, and then we run the table. That boosts us up to about a 38%. So really what this tells me is that the Cowboys game is kind of the least important game of the rest of our season. If we lose against the Cowboys, all is well, as long as we beat the Ravens and the Bills, right? But obviously, you just kind of want all 3. If you get all 3, you get the 1 seed, and you lock it up, and you lock up, like I've said in the past, a situation where, what was it? The percentage is like 60% of 1 and 2 seeds, or 60% of 1 seeds win the Super Bowl. So it's very important to have that home field advantage all the way through the playoffs. Now let's look at some of the other situations, right? What games matter over the next couple of weeks? Those are the big questions. Here's the slick. Here's the dice. The Bills are going to win out at least for the next 2 games, right? The Bills have the Chargers without Herbert, and then the next week they have the Patriots, who have given up. Right, and they're about to fire their head coach, and they are just pathetic, right? So, and that is in Buffalo. So they're going to win the next 2 games for sure. And the problem is here, if they win the next 2 games, let's see what it says if they win the next 2 games. Currently, it says if they win the next 2 games, the Bills have a 60. Hold on. The Bill. I guess I'm not on the Bills page right now. Maybe I should do that. But yeah, if they win the next 2 games, the Bills are basically in the playoffs, right? This AFC race is close, very, very close. But for the most part, the Bills are going to be in the playoffs. It just depends on who they play. So the Bills, if they win the next 2 weeks, the playoff predictor says they have a 78, almost 80% chance of making the playoffs. And they're going to win the next 2 weeks. There's not really a question of that. It's more of like, are they going to possibly win the AFC East? And like we say, if we win the next 2 weeks, we lock up the AFC East. That's another way that we can feel a little bit less stressful in Week 17 or Week 18. I think it's Week 18 now. I don't remember. But that third, like I said, 80% chance. If they lose one of these games, they won't. So we don't really have to talk about that. But honestly, the other teams that are in the AFC, though, I will say this. A lot of the other competitors in the AFC that are going against the Bills are sort of like, like the Texans and the Jaguars and the Browns. All of these teams actually have some easy competitions going forward. The Colts, the Bengals. Honestly, they could every one of those teams could just win out themselves, and theoretically the Bills could get kicked out, but I doubt it. You really just have to think it this way. The Bills went through a really tough stretch, but they're a really good team. They're not that different of a team than last year. You have to be honest on this, okay? And they've gotten over the firing of their offensive coordinator. So at this point in time, you just have to think about it. They're basically the Bills of the past. They're basically the Bills, right? And so, honestly, if we don't win that 1 seed and we don't win out, most likely it's Dolphins-Bills. At least that one would be in Miami, but it would be the scariest matchup of your life, right? And that's what you almost have to do. If you lose one of those games, the Dolphins, or the Cowboys, or the Ravens, you almost have to start thinking, what should I do in Week 18? If I'm the Dolphins, you don't want to play Bills in that opening round. So do you almost blow that game if it pushes you down to the 3rd seed and you end up having to play like the Colts or something? I don't know how you play that. I honestly don't know how you play that. But what I will say is it's a death match in Week 18 either way. Like, we're going to need that win, or we're going to want to win so the Bills get pushed out of the playoffs. Like, Week 18 is going to be prime. It's going to be – I wonder what the situation is going to be for us. But I know it's going to be important as shit, right? The next 3 games are so important. I guess that's all I really wanted to talk about, a little bit of the playoff scenarios. But, yeah, that's it, I guess. I'll just do a quick 10 minutes and call it a show. And I hope you liked Hard Knocks this week. I started watching Hard Knocks again with my girlfriend because the boycott's over. We beat the Jets by a lot, and now I'm good, and I can watch the team again. This week has a little bit higher stakes because I have a lot of Cowboys friends, and Cowboys fans are the most annoying in the league. So it's going to be extra important for me this week. I honestly think we do win this game, and I honestly think we win by about 7 or 10 points. I think it's going to be 27-17. Maybe it's a little higher scoring than that. 30-20, something like that. But I just think we win this game. I think we're a better team. The Cowboys are bad on the road. The Cowboys are bad against great teams. I just don't think they're going to be able to stop us, and I don't think they're going to be able to, do a lot of that stuff when we have Jalen Ramsey on CeeDee Lamb most of the game. So that's all I got for you. I'm so excited to see how these next 3 weeks end up. What I can say is, even if we didn't want to lose to the Titans, it has lined us up for a really interesting finish to this season, a capper to this season. And if it falls our way for the first time in like 3 or 4 decades, it's going to taste super sweet going forward. Love you guys. This has been the TuAmigos, separated via audio clip, but you get to hear both of us. We'll see you next week.